Hey guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to install this Frigidiare top-load washing machine today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our straps cut. If you're looking at it, we have two straps on the front. And then we have two along the side. All right, so now we can lift the top of our box straight up. Okay, so here we have our protective covering. It fell out as I was pulling the top of the box off of the unit. It's just solely there to protect our top of the unit from getting any type of scratches or scrapes. So what we're going to do is go ahead and discard it. What we're also going to do is discard our sides as well, because we don't need them anymore. So let's go ahead and open up the lid and see what we have on the inside. All right, so it appears that we have our protective styrofoam to help to protect the drum while the unit is in transit. I'm going to set this off to the side. Looking on the inside of the unit, we have our drain hose. I'm just going to sit this down. We also have our hardware kit. And then we also have our installation instructions. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and review these, make sure nothing's changed since the last time I installed one, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so next what we want to do is confirm that the unit is level. You want to put your level across the front, make sure it's level. It does appear so. We're also going to put it on the side as well. All right, so we're looking good. In an event in which your unit is not level, what you want to do is carefully tilt the unit back slightly. Okay, we have our two leveling legs on the front. What you want to do is make your adjustments there. All right, so once we confirm that we do have a good level, next thing we want to do is install our hoses. Okay, so now that we have our unit turned around, there's a few things I want to point out. The first thing is whenever you're moving the unit, you don't want to use this control panel as a handle or your sole point of contact, because if you damage it, then you have to replace the whole control panel, which will ultimately inconvenience the consumer. All right, so the next thing we want to do is install our drain tube. The reason we want to install our drain tube before our hoses, because we have to flush the water line coming from the home. We want to make sure that there's no any type of debris in the water line that will clog up our water valve. All right, so next we want to do is install our drain tube. We want to slide the drain tube onto the outlet connector for our drain pump. At the end of the drain tube, you have this clamp. Make sure the drain hose or the drain tube is nice and tight on that connector. Then you just want to tighten your clamp down. All right, so now that we have that nice and tight, we want to just do a little test by pulling on the drain tube. Make sure it doesn't come off of that connector. Now let's go ahead and install our clamps for the drain tube. Okay, so now that we have our drain tube properly installed, we want to gain access to our hardware kit. Inside of our hardware kit, we have two clamps and two Phillips head screws. We want to put them in these two particular locations on the back of the unit to secure the drain tube to the unit to ensure proper drainage. Okay, so now that we have this installed, next we want to go ahead and connect the water hoses to the water supply coming from the home. Okay, so looking inside of our hose connector, we have a washer on the inside of it. The first thing we want to do is remove that washer. Inside of our hardware kit, we have the screen filter that we want to put on the inside of our hose connector. Now when you put in this screen filter inside of the hose connector, you don't have to push it all the way down to the very bottom, because whenever we screw it in, the base from the water valve is going to push that screen filter all the way down. Now I do want to get my flathead just to assist me a little bit. All right, so now let's connect our water hose to our water supply coming from the home. All right, so we want to go as tight as we can by hand, and then we want to get some pliers just to make sure that it's nice and tight, nice and snug. We don't want any water to be leaking from the water supply or the end of this connector. All right, so now you want to go ahead and move our unit so we can run our drain line. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and run my drain line. All right, so we're gonna take our two hoses and we're gonna run them into our tub. What we wanna do is run the water coming from the water supply from the home to make sure there's no trash or debris inside of our water supply. All right, so now that we ran our water to clear our water supply coming from the home, I want to shake these a little bit, make sure there's no water inside of the lines. All right, so now we want to go ahead and connect them to the back of the water valve. One thing I do want to point out, you don't want to crisscross these water lines. Make sure you have the hot going to the hot, cold going to the cold. The reason being is whenever the unit calls for hot water, you don't want it to get cold, and then vice versa. All right, so we want to go as tight as we can by hand. Make sure it's nice and snug. And then we want to grab some pliers. Just tighten it up just a little bit more. To prevent any type of leaks. There we go. All right, so now what we want to do is go ahead and run a cycle on this unit. So before you go into your test, you want to make sure that your incoming water supply is turned on. Let's go ahead and start it. What we want to do is hit the power button. Let's go ahead and go to a quick wash, just so we can go through a full short cycle while we're here. Press start. We got our door lock. Motor is agitating. Now we have the water entering into the unit. Make sure we don't have any leaks coming from the back of the valve or also coming from our water supply. All right, so we appear to be good. All right, so we have completed our install. Everything's checking out fine. The next thing I would do is go and consult with the consumer, provide them with their information. In a newly constructed home, what I would do is put this to the drawer to the left of the range. Okay, so we have another successful install. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to check us out at electroluxservicetips.com.